So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the TCM community. And as you know, TCM community is an independent global platform exchanging knowledge and experience about traditional Chinese medicine, philosophy, food, and culture to raise awareness and educate and inform. And today we're joined by Dr. David Hartmann, who has studied we studied a diploma of applied sciences in Chinese medicine, and he did that straight out of secondary school and graduated from the Australian College of Natural Medicine in Brisbane. And he's been practicing TCM ever since. Now, he has a special interest in mental and emotional health, and this has led him to research the literature extensively and to prioritize the treatment of mental health in his clinic. So welcome, Dr. Hartmann.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So Dr. Hartmann's journey resulted in the exploration of different archetype systems, philosophical ideas, plus an immersion in some French Chinese medicine concepts, which in turn led to some incredible discoveries, which he now shares with the international TCM community via online workshops through different companies and live seminars and conference presentations. So by the way, he has an upcoming workshop from October 7th to October 9th in Soesterberg near Utrecht in the Netherlands. First of all, what stands out is how did you get the idea of working with point combinations?
Yeah, it sort of came from being a student myself and trying to make sense of how to remember all the points you needed to treat a particular condition. So I found it easier. It's interesting that you were the same, that working out groups of point combinations for conditions was easier for me to get that in my head. And so it became this where I'd go, oh, this point will work for, say, certain types of insomnia, like say Heart 7, Yin Tang, maybe An Mien. And so I would remember a group of points rather than just one. And then I'd write the points down on scraps of paper, and the paper ended up in this big folder that just grew and grew. And then when I graduated and started treating my own patients, I then couldn't find all my combinations I'd written down. So I alphabetized it all, and it sort of grew from that. But for me, it was just a way of remembering groupings of points. And then from there, as I said, it just kind of grew and grew into something that became a book in the end, which was quite fascinating.
Yeah, certainly is an interesting book. I have it right here, by the way. So this is his book. And another thing is, what fascinates me is why the special interest in mental health in TCM. Is that from a personal?
Yeah. It's it's confronting to admit that, but certainly the first 20 years of my life was, I wouldn't have wished on anyone. I ended up almost accidentally finding the acupuncture college in Brisbane and started studying there and was loving it. And I was getting regular acupuncture at the student clinic. And I found that my depression and anxiety were actually going away. And I thought that was something that I just was going to have to live with. And so from there, that was my first taste of it. Felt really, really amazing from the acupuncture. And then when I did my master's degree and finished that in 2009, part of the thesis project that I did at the end of the master's, I decided I'd explore Confucian Taoist concepts from the origins of the concepts, I guess, Confucius, Mencius, Lao Tzu, Zhuangzi, and looking at their thoughts and seeing how that could apply to modern life. Because when I was reading those books, they said such wonderful things that could help you to become the best version of yourself. So I kind of thought, well, maybe philosophy as well as medicine could help with mental and emotional health. And again, it just grows. Then I was fascinated by Greek and Roman philosophy,
Mm,
and then the archetype systems, numerology,
yeah.
Myers-Briggs, five-element archetype, all these
Hmm.
ways to I
So you
guess,
were, sorry to interrupt, but so you were also interested and combined the other social studies like philosophy, psychology. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so it became this bigger thing, and I realized that I had something that could really help people, and I had that personal experience myself. Granted, that was, you know, 15 years prior, but I think when my patients see me, they recognize that acupuncture helped me for something that they're suffering from that's not dissimilar.
Hmm.
And so I can't not treat mental and emotional health now. It's this thing that, and I that's what I want to treat, and I love it.
Yeah.
And you know, there's nothing wrong with helping someone with a low back pain. That's a wonderful feeling too when they get better. I guess
Hmm.
it's just a different area, and I think it's also an area that's certainly in Australia still quite misunderstood in terms of acupuncture being able to do anything for mental and emotional health.
Yeah, there's a very big field, a very big area, mental emotional problems that people are unaware of, that acupuncture, TCM really helps, but it's just in the well, let's say in the Western Hemisphere, it's not just as well known as
Mm,
um, in the more traditional countries that are used to acupuncture or TCM.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
yeah, one of the passages I like in your book is about, you go about the archetypes from the Wuxing, and
Yes,
what you say is that there's always this dominant or like a guardian element, right? It's never like, can you tell us something about that, like the division of archetypes?
yeah. It's I guess experience what I see. It's also really immersing myself in the literature, trying to get as much of an idea about what other specialists think about the archetype systems. So for me, the five element archetypes, there seems to be that people are predominantly one main one, primary
Hmm.
or a guardian, and they might be, say, 60 to 80% of what they see written about that archetype.
Hmm.
And then it seems as if there's a secondary or support act, I think is what I refer to it as,
Yeah.
might be, 40, 50% or so that kind of helps out. It's the person in the background that is very good as the guide or the helper. And then
Hmm.
you're obviously a little bit of the remaining three. But I've seen obviously lots of different ways that people look at the archetypes and what they believe. I feel like over the years that seems to resonate the best with my patients, and when I teach it, um, my participants seem to like the idea that there's this one main one. So for me, it's fire, and then I've got my support, which is water. So the
Hmm.
fire allows me to get up and talk in front of people and be engaging and hopefully a good salesperson for Chinese medicine.
Hmm.
Um, and then the water support allows me to go and do all the reading of the books and research
Yeah.
and write out material that then becomes the workshop itself.
Yeah, it's great you explain it in this book, because I can imagine when you students start studying at first, yeah, you just do through the list and you think it's an absolute, right? It's 100%. Everything has to fit in that one archetype, and in reality, it's like it's even more than yin yang. It's all the five elements working together,
Yeah.
and then it's always fluctuating.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
uh, Can you tell us something about your upcoming workshop here in Soesterberg, which is the title is Acupuncture Point Combinations to Regain Our Full Inner Mental Health, and it's from October 7 to 9.
Again, because that's kind of the area that I I can't say specialize. You can't say that in Australia. You can say special interest,
Mm,
which is fine. Um, when you try to find literature on, I guess, treating emotions, you stumble along because there's not a lot. You know,
mhm.
I don't know whether Giovanni ever did an update on his psych book from 2009 before he died, but um, you know, that's in my opinion, a good book, but that's now, 13, 14 years old. We had
Yeah.
Alyssa Rossi's Shen book, which was good, but didn't have a lot of, I felt, enough, I guess, point combinations in it, but
Mm,
very good for what it offered. And then you scramble to find other books, and I'm sure there are some out there, or even plenty out there, but I just felt certainly in English that there was a lack of it. So for me, it was about, I guess, writing, workshops, getting a sense of what I could find using my own clinical experience,
mm,
and it growing and growing from that. Some of the treatments I've structured that I use now, I've been using for over 10 years, but only now people are starting to see them appear in my workshops, because now I feel confident that those treatments are effective, they're working.
right.
And so I guess it just grows from that. And this workshop, um, this coming weekend is designed around that. So it's not looking at the 7 main emotions, because again, you can find information on that. It's broadening out depression, really unpacking depression and looking at what each organ looks like when there's depression. As you know, liver depression is going to look different to, say, a spleen depression,
Mm,
and then looking at anxiety in more detail, and then even broadening it out more. I just wrote a few little things down. It's looking at things like stress, but even things like self-esteem issues, which of course a lot of people have problems with. Trying to
mm,
get a sense of who they are, how they feel around other people. I look at things like procrastination,
mm.
writer's block, phobias, panic attacks. I really trying to get a better sense of what's going on with that. OCD, certain types of addictions.
Mm. So this is all covered in that weekend or from Friday to Sunday, right?
Yes,
All these
yes,
topics. It's very interesting.
yeah. So it's a workshop that they'll get a section of theory,
Hmm.
and then they can go and practically do it in the
Okay.
actual workshop. So
Yeah.
they hear it from me, then they can receive a treatment, they can watch a treatment, they can do a treatment.
Mm.
So it's like all these things are helping them to have it cemented into their brain, much more likely to remember it. And it's
Okay.
not just me standing in front of people for 3 days talking.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's also practical. So this is really for therapists, for acupuncturists, right? The workshop.
yes, yeah.
Mm, okay.
We have had Tuina practitioners, even a shiatsu practitioner has attended, um, students of acupuncture,
Mm,
or
of course.
actual practitioners.
Mm,
But it does fit for really any, I guess, acupuncturist, no matter where they are in their career, whether they're still studying or whether they've been doing it for 40 years. I
mhm.
think that there's something that they can learn.
So tying in this workshop for in October, um, will it also flow into your topic of the conference, which is the upcoming DTCMC conference in November 5th and 6th? And you're on the second day in the English forum, and your topic there is acupuncture point combinations, finding heart joy and contentment. So I would imagine this also flows into that, your workshop.
Yes, yes, there's a section this weekend that I think it might be half a day where we, instead of going through an emotion and unpacking it, we flip it and we look at how to help someone feel contentment and joy and peace and harmony by looking at specific acupuncture point combinations,
Mm.
and I guess philosophical concepts. And that's very much also what I'll be targeting at the DTCMC
Yeah,
in November.
yeah, yeah. It's the Dutch TCM Congress
Yes.
2022, and it's Dutch, but it's really international. We have a lot of international speakers. That's what we strive for,
Yes.
also to involve the whole global TCM community. So
Yeah. The idea of the contentment is that it seems like in this world we live in, everyone wants everything straight away. They don't want to take a long time with something. Everything's got to be snapshots. And I
yeah.
feel like people are striving for this adrenaline hit,
Mm-hmm.
dopamine hit, endorphin hit, and it has to be
Mm-hmm.
something dramatic. Getting a tattoo, jumping out of a plane, video games, frantic, and the
Yeah.
concept of contentment is gone because what they want is joy, but it's manic joy. And that's not sustainable. You know, the Tao Te Ching talks about contentment being achievable and attainable,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the joy that people should strive more towards, is
Mm-hmm.
just feeling peace, harmony, contentment, not this manic adrenaline charged thing that you can't sustain. And so that's why I was so pleased when now that you've given me that opportunity to talk about that in your Congress, because it's a fascinating way of looking at joy and going, well, what is that? Is it this manic thing or is it this contentment thing? And
Yeah. Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you want contentment, what can acupuncture do to help you find that?
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, it definitely brings me joy that someone like you that understands the problems of a modern society um, can bring all this classic wisdom and to try and make sense of it all. Because you're right. Look at the way modern society is going with all the fast adrenaline, uh, so-called feeling of contentment.
Yeah,
So it's great you're able to explain this in your workshops, your books, and try to get therapists to make more sense of it all, to pass it along to their patients. So
yeah,
so thank you again. Thank you for joining us here today at TCM Community, and also in advance for the Congress in November 5th, 5 to 6. Dutch TCM Congress 2022. I wish you well, and good luck with your upcoming workshop in Utrecht.
thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's as you said, it's my passion, so
Yeah,
it's easy for me to give that passion out to participants. That then, you know, it's one thing for me to treat one person at a time and they get better, and that's amazing. And then you've got the opportunity to go and teach, 15, 20 people
mm,
that are practitioners, then they go and help one person,
right.
and it's just this, it becomes this critical mass, I guess a collective
Yeah,
consciousness that people
yeah,
around the world start to see, oh, acupuncture can treat mental and emotional turmoil, and so more patients come and more patients benefit, and
mm,
it's just a beautiful thing.
yeah. And the great thing is, you really notice it. Yeah, like your passion for this work, and then really it also conveys the message even more. So that's
Yeah,
great.
thank you.
Yeah. So I'll goodbye for now, but I'll see you in November at the Congress.
Lovely. Thank you again for the opportunity. Really
No
appreciate it.
problem. See you
Thanks.
next time.